So after all of that happened, Jamie Lynn then did her interview on Good Morning America about her new book. And we're going to definitely go through some of that and talk about it because it was just horrible. I cannot even believe some of the stuff that Jamie Lynn had the guts to say. The audacity of her. I couldn't believe it. So let's go through a couple of the scenes or snippets from the interview and puke together.
Father struggles with alcohol when she was young. According to the New York Times, court documents show he attended rehab for alcoholism in 2004 when she was a teen.
You wrote in the book, he spent most of my life in that cycle of ruinous behavior. His bouts of drinking always caused me periods of torment and sorrow. How did his drinking shape your lives?
For me, it was created a lot of anxiety. The hardest part was like, could I trust you? Are you drinking? Are you not? It was something that no kid should have to question.
Yeah, and this is the guy who is controlling Britney's entire life and her finances, her personal affairs, and everything. Can I trust you? Are you drinking? Are you not? But he can control Britney's entire life. That sounds like a great idea. Let's continue.
She also describes a close bond she shared with her sister, who is 10 years older.
I felt like she was another mama.
Jamie Lynn says as the years passed, she noticed Britney's behavior begin to change.
Words that you've used in the book to describe her behavior over your lifetime was erratic, paranoid, spiraling. How do you see your sister's state of mind currently?
I can't really speak to anyone else's state of mind. I don't think that's fair.
But why not? Why can't you speak to anyone else's state of mind? But you just did it. Erratic, paranoid, spiraling. You just spoke to her state of mind, but now you can't speak to anyone else's state of mind. I don't.
But I'm allowed to say how I felt in those because that matters. It matters that I was in pain.
Yes, Jamie Lynn, yes, it does. It matters that you were in pain. It matters when everyone is in pain, and everybody should be able to speak about their own pain, but you are not speaking about your own pain. You are speaking about your sister and saying she's erratic and spiraling and paranoid. And honestly, if I was Britney Spears, I would be paranoid as well, because anyone who ever tried to get close to her, it was for their own benefit and their own profit. And actually, look at what her family has done to her. And your family is supposed to be the only ones you could trust, if not nobody else. So she had a very good reason to be paranoid, if she even was paranoid, which, she might have been. But erratic, spiraling, really, Jamie Lynn?
You talked in the book about the role that you were asked to play in the conservatorship.
There was a time where my sister asked me of her trust and will if I would be the person who assured that her boys got what they needed. Whether she's in a conservatorship or not, that was a very normal thing, I thought. Once I realized that, she's in a conservatorship, I felt like I just didn't want to be a part of until maybe she was out of the conservatorship. So there was no me overseeing funds or something like that. And if that was, it was a misunderstanding. But either way, I took no steps to be a part of it.
There was no overseeing funds. And then she probably realized, oh shit, I lied about a legal issue on national TV. So she had to say, but if there was, it was a misunderstanding. Jamie Lynn got caught trying to move her sister's money around in shady ways into Lou M. Taylor's business and all that stuff. Alleged. Let's say alleged. Just in case Lou likes to definitely sue everybody and go after people. Alleged. But Jamie Lynn was definitely trying to move money around in shady ways, and then she got caught doing that. And once she got caught, she was like, oh shit, and then she stepped down. But she's saying, oh, if there was no move overseeing funds, but if there was, it was a misunderstanding. Anybody catch that?
Jamie Lynn revealing for the first time she even tried to give Britney the resources she needed to end the conservatorship.
I've always been my sister's biggest supporter. So when she needed help, I set up ways to do so. Went out of my way to make sure that she had the contacts she needed to possibly go ahead and end this conservatorship and just end this all for our family. If it's going to cause this much discord, why continue it?
Why continue it, Jamie Lynn? Well, because your entire family was getting rich off of it and living off of Britney's conservatorship. That's why to continue it. And I'm sorry, Jamie Lynn gave Britney the contacts to try and get this conservatorship done. But Britney says in her testimony that she says, quote, "I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I didn't know that I could petition to end the conservatorship. I'm sorry, but I didn't know that." But Jamie Lynn gave her the contacts she needed to end this thing, right? Okay. And I'm sorry, but we have heard so much about Britney's conservatorship. We have done some incredibly deep digging, and we have known that Sam Lutfi has tried to help. Sam Lutfi's sister even slipped Britney a phone. Britney has called lawyers and left messages, and then when it got back to the judge, Britney's family just went in there and lied and said that's not Britney's voice, that's not her. Which you can clearly tell it's her, and why didn't the judge bring Britney in and ask her? Anyway, I'm sorry. But we know Sam Lutfi's sister slipped her a phone and blah, blah, blah. We've never once heard of Jamie Lynn doing anything to help lift a finger at all.
So you didn't always agree with the conservatorship?
It wasn't about agreeing with the conservatorship. Everyone has a voice and it should be heard. So if she wanted to talk to other people, then I did. I set that up. I even spoke to her legal team, previous legal team, and that did not end well in my favor. So I did take the steps to help, but how many times can I take the steps without, she has to walk through the door.
Can you guys believe that? Can you believe that she just said that? The audacity of this woman. Can you believe that? I can't believe she said that. She said that she did all this stuff for Britney. I gave her all the contacts. I set all this stuff up. I talked to her previous legal team, which, by the way, isn't her legal team. It was her father's. I mean, he never had Britney's best interest in mind whatsoever. But Jamie Lynn did everything for Britney. Let's all give a round of applause to Jamie Lynn. Britney, did you know that she set all of that stuff up for you? But how many times can she do it? You have to walk through the door. You've got to be kidding me. Did she just blame Britney for being in this conservatorship? Well, you have to walk through the door. Oh my God, that infuriates me. How long has Britney tried? How many things has she done? They tried to move it to the federal level. They tried everything. But the courts, but she's going to literally blame Britney and say, well, she has to walk through the door. The audacity. Oh my God. And let's not forget that when she asked Jamie Lynn if she didn't always agree with this conservatorship, did you see her tiptoe around that? She definitely didn't answer that question. She said, it's not about not agreeing with it. Everybody has a voice and that should be heard. Remember a second ago, Jamie Lynn said, I was hurt and that matters. It matters that I was hurt. And she said everybody should use their voice. Well, you know what, Jamie Lynn, that's great. That's great that you were able to use your voice. That's wonderful that you were allowed to use your voice and say what you wanted to say. But your sister has been enslaved for over a dozen years, and she did not have that luxury to speak at all to anybody if she wanted to. It must be nice that you can use your voice because you were hurt, and that matters.
There's been speculation of a rift, many of Britney's fans attacking Jamie Lynn online, noting that Britney unfollowed her on Instagram. Britney also posting last July that her sister's tribute performance at the 2017 Radio Disney Awards to remixes of her songs hurt her deeply.
Honestly, it was somewhat confusing to me about that, and I actually have spoke to her about that. And I was doing a tribute to honor my sister and all the amazing things that she's done.
But you've cleared that up with her?
I have cleared up with the fact that I don't think she's personally upset with me about that. Truthfully, I don't know why that bothers her.
It bothers her, Jamie Lynn, because she has been wanting to perform remixes to her songs and do like greatest hits remixes, like tours and stuff in small venues for her fans. She's been wanting to do remixes of her own songs for years, and she has not been allowed to do that. She's always been told no. So for her to have to sit there and see Jamie Lynn allowed to do something that she's not allowed to do, and then Jamie Lynn go out there and perform like remixes to her songs that she's not even allowed to do, which she also said Jamie Lynn gets handed everything, and we'll go through that here as well. But she said, so you've cleared this up with her? And she says, I've cleared this up. I think she's lying there. The way she just kind of, I've cleared up the fact that, I don't know about that.
Despite their complicated relationship, Jamie Lynn says she still has a deep love for her big sister.
What happened to that love? What has caused this rift between you?
That love is still there, 100%. I love my sister. I've only ever loved and supported her and done what's right by her, and she knows that. So I don't know why we're in this position right now.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Because she's never even uttered the words "Free Britney." Like, she refuses. She's the only one who did not congratulate Britney when she got out of the conservatorship, when that conservatorship was dissolved. She's the only one that did not congratulate her. She didn't congratulate her when she got engaged. Are you sure that you only do what's right by her? You just love and support. You've always supported and loved her. Are you sure?
I'm curious what you think about sort of the world, the paparazzi world of that time.
I look back and I think, wow, how is this acceptable? Why are you here other than to shame me and to benefit off of a young girl who's going through something already so traumatic and so deep and personal? We say we do better, but now we just go into the comments on Instagram and do it.
That's what I'm talking about. We say we do better, but we just do it and go in the Instagram comments and do it. That's what I'm talking about. But Jamie Lynn's comments are very limited. You can't send her DMs either. So she must be on somebody else's Instagram reading comments that people are privately talking about her. They're not sending her hate. And yeah, the paparazzi was terrible to you. Think about what Britney went through. It's what happened to you times like 1,000.
Before going public, Spears says she felt pressured by members of her family and management team, but she was adamant.
You wrote, and I'm going to quote you, the entire Spears team was already caught up in my sister's PR difficulties, and everyone around me just wanted to make the issue disappear.
Yeah, I think that the easy thing for possibly them would have been like, let's just get this over with, and like, you go back to being the perfect little sister, because that's your role.
Why do you think it makes you emotional still all these years later?
I just like thank God that I like, you know, I like thank God I stood up for myself and like said exactly what I wanted.
I thank God too that you stood up for yourself and you were able to have your baby. That's great. And you used your voice and you had your baby. But how would you feel if you literally were forced on birth control and had an IUD inserted inside of you and you were forced to keep it in and you were never allowed to get it taken out, and nobody would let you go to the doctor to get it taken out, and therefore you wouldn't have had a voice at all to have a baby, and you wouldn't have been able to have a baby? How would you feel if that happened to you? I'm glad you had a voice, and I'm glad your voice was honored. That must be nice. Must be nice. So after Jamie Lynn did this interview, Britney then responded, which of course is her right. I mean, Jamie Lynn talked about Britney almost the entire time in this interview, so Britney definitely has a right to respond if she wants to, and she wanted to, so she responded. So we're going to go through what Britney said. It was pretty long, so I'm going to try and go through it a little quicker. But Britney first started talking about how she has 104 fever, maybe higher, and she's very sick, and she wanted to leave for her head, and the security said that they're not allowed to leave the premises, and she said, yeah, you know, unless there's an emergency, which this is, and the security had like sarcasm in his voice and like said that he wasn't gonna go get it for her pretty much. And then she ended up looking at her phone and saw her sister's interview promoting her book, and she said she watched it with 104 fever, and it was kind of nice actually having a fever while she watched it, so she actually didn't have to care as much because she was more worried about the way she felt. She had the chills. She's talking about how bad it was, and she's sore, and she couldn't even touch her own body. But enough about her sickness. And she said 2 things that bothered me about my sister's interview. How my sister said was how my behavior was out of control. She was never around me much 15 years ago at that time. So why are we even talking about that? Unless she wants to sell a book at my expense. Really? And then where the lady mentioned, why did she accuse you of doing remixes of her songs? She says, I know it may sound like a silly thing to most people, but I wrote a lot of my songs and my sister was the baby. She never had to work for anything. Everything was always given to her. If you were me, you might understand asking for 13 years for remixes to go into a small venue and show, or a small venue show and on tours. 13 years later, they assign me as the mother of all, heart of gold. Britney's sitting there seeing a 15-minute performance of everything I have ever wanted. But see, I always was the bigger person. They all got to do it and play me, and I always sat there and took it. But see, now it's a joke. The last thing I would ever do is ask for what was just given to her. So yes, they did ruin my dreams. She's talking about how Jamie Lynn never had to do anything. Britney worked so hard for everything that she has accomplished, and Jamie Lynn never had to do anything. Everything was always just handed to her. She just rode Britney's coattails, and Britney has been asking and begging to do remixes of her own songs for 13 years, and she was always told no, and now she had to sit there and watch a 15-minute performance of everything that she has always been wanting to do for years and has been told no. And not only that, but one of those people performing her remixes to her songs was her sister, the person who just got handed everything that Britney had to work for. So, yeah, the last thing she would ask for is what was just given to Jamie, I'm sorry. And she says, I do remember asking my sister why she did that when she knew I was waiting to change my show, and her only words were, quote, "Well, it wasn't my idea," end quote. Hope your book does well, Jamie Lynn. I won't be doing Instagram for a while. The media, this business has always been extremely hateful to me. I've given enough, more than enough. I was never given back ever what I want. They say in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. Not in my life. Just like my family, I asked security for a leave as I laid there with 104-degree fever in bed, and he told me no. My family ruined my dreams 100 billion% and tried to make me look like the crazy one while I have 104-degree fever, not being able to move in my bed. My family loves to pull me down and hurt me always, so I am disgusted with them. And I feel like my head is two basketballs because it's sore from the fever last night, and I honestly don't like crying because crying makes it worse, actually. It's like I'm on the edge of reason. I went to sleep, yet my mind keeps wandering. Then it doesn't care again. I close my eyes for 20 minutes, and it's on repeat. My throat is sore, and the last thing I will ever ask to see in my life is a doctor. I mean, would you if you were me? Just saying, because, all the doctors who have abused her and lied and kept her in this conservatorship, I wouldn't trust or want to go see a doctor either. P.S. Lesson learned from all this. Don't trust people or anyone. Make your cats and dogs your family and take care of your own damn self. So it looks like Britney is very upset for what Jamie Lynn said. And then Jamie Lynn, of course, responds to Britney. And she doesn't have to. Jamie Lynn's the one who started this with the shit she said about Britney in her interview. And then Britney had the right to respond. And now Jamie Lynn is here saying, quote, this last thing I want to be doing is this. Are you sure, Jamie Lynn? Because you don't have to. Britney's the one who is responding to what you said. But now you have to respond again. But this is the last thing you want to be doing. But here we are. It's hard to see these posts as I know the world also feels. I just wish her well. Brit, I am always here. You know behind the scenes I have always been here. It's become exhausting when conversations and texts we have in private don't match what you post on social media. I know you're going through a lot, and I never want to diminish that, but I also can't diminish myself. That's a big thing that Jamie Lynn kept saying. It matters. It matters that I hurt. That's what she keeps saying. Yeah, it matters that you hurt, but don't freaking pull other people down when you're trying to explain your hurt. Now, I can't diminish myself. Well, you know what? It must be nice because your sister has been staying silent for 13 years, not able to have a voice for herself or say anything about anything she feels. And now she is, and you're trying to take that away from her and make her be quiet because you know what you've done to her is wrong. Anyway, quite frankly, the things being said are absolutely not the truth, and I have to clarify that because now it's getting harder for me to rationalize to my oldest daughter why our family continues to get death threats as a result of their aunt's vague and accusatory posts, especially when we know she could tell the truth and put an end to all of it in 1 second if she wanted to. The audacity, I swear, this woman pisses me off. I can't believe her. First of all, look at the psychology in this paragraph. She brings up her daughter again. I have to explain to my oldest daughter why our family's getting death threats. Again, every time she wants sympathy, she brings up her kids. She uses her daughters, which is disgusting. She's using her daughters. So she has to explain. first of all, if all of this hate and death threats and everything you're getting is on mostly online or whatever, why are you explaining them to your daughter? Why does she know anything about them? The only thing she should know is if a kid or somebody came up to her at school and said and threatened her, or out and about and someone actually threatened her. Other than that, you shouldn't be explaining a damn thing to her because she shouldn't know. Why would she know? Why are you telling her? That's what I want to know. I highly doubt you're getting death threats sent to your house and your daughter just happens to check the mail and open it and read it without your consent. I mean, how? That's bullshit. I don't buy it. It's bullshit. And then she accuses Britney of lying and says it's not the truth, and Britney could clear it all up in a second if she wanted to and just tell the truth. But she doesn't. Which, you're kidding me, right? You've got to be kidding me. She says, sadly, after a lifetime of staying silent, I have come... Oh, I'm sorry. I can't even. After a lifetime of staying silent, Jamie Lynn, do you not know who you're talking to? Your sister has been forced and threatened to stay silent for 13 years. She wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. She wasn't allowed to share her story. She literally had to, put in, secret kind of post things to try and tell her fans what was going on. She had to, put little messages, intricate messages in her posts and stuff to ask for help because she wasn't allowed to have a voice. But you, after a lifetime of staying silent, you were never silent, Jamie Lynn, and if you were, it was your own fault. I had come to realize this isn't going to be a reality, and I may have to set the record straight myself in order to protect mine and my family's well-being. Well, okay. Set the record straight, Jamie Lynn. Let's all hear what you have to say. Why don't you set the record straight, and then we'll have Britney set the record straight, and then we'll see who people believe. We'll just, I can't believe her. That being said, I hate to burst my sister's bubble, but my book is not about her. Are you kidding me? Your book is not about her? Dude, the entire interview you did with Good Morning America was about Britney. The entire thing almost. You talked about Maddie's accident, and that's about it. You talked about Britney almost the entire time. And I honestly, my opinion, I personally feel like Jamie Lynn hates, she doesn't want to talk about Britney, but she knows if she doesn't talk about Britney, she's not going to get nowhere with nothing because nobody cares about her. That's a sad reality, Jamie Lynn, but nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your life and your thoughts and your, that's sad and it's harsh and I'm sorry, but nobody really cares. People care about Britney, and that must suck, and I feel for that. I understand that. But I think she loves and hates to talk about Britney. She loves it because that's where she gets all her attention, but yet she hates it because she knows that she won't get any attention if she talks about herself. I don't know. I don't know. But she says her book is not about her, but somebody on Twitter, I went back to try and find it and I couldn't find it, but somebody on Twitter, counted the word Britney in her book, and she said, or they said, that Jamie Lynn's book, the word Britney is on every single page at least 2 or 3 times. So it seems like her book is about Britney. She says, I hate to burst my sister's bubble, But my book is not about her. I can't help that I was born a Spears too, and that some of my experiences involve my sister. Some. Once again, on every page. I worked hard since before I was even a teenager, and I've built my career in spite of just being someone's little sister. I wonder if she really believes that. I honestly wonder if she really believes that, or if that's just something she's been telling herself for so long that she, automatically says it, and she does maybe believe it because she's been telling herself that for so long. The sad fact of the matter is, nobody would know who she was if it wasn't for Britney. She would not have any kind of career in entertainment at all. She said, I've worked hard since before I was even a teenager. That was Britney, honey, not you. Britney worked her ass off since before she was a teenager. You got handed that TV show. You got handed everything because Britney worked her ass off, not you. And she said she built her career in spite of being someone's little sister. No, she didn't build her career. It was handed to her because of her big sister, not in spite of her big sister. She says, there are no sides, and I don't want drama, but I'm speaking my truth to heal my traumas, so I can close this chapter and move forward, and I wish my sister could do the same. No matter what comes, I will always love my big sister and be here for her. It's time to put an end to the unhealthy chaos that has controlled my life for so long. Jamie Lynn Spears Watson. Can't help but to notice this, but in every screenshot I've taken of Jamie Lynn's posts, the posts are liked by Sloan. Why? And this horseshit that Jamie Lynn just wrote, I don't want to hate to burst my sister's bubble. Like, why is Sloan liking that? I'm curious. I love Sloan. I mean, I love him. I love him to death. I've been watching him since he had like 30,000 subscribers, and I'm so proud of him for hitting 600,000. But I'm like, why is he liking her posts? Especially the ones talking bad about Britney and calling her a liar and stuff. I don't know. Maybe he's like liking them just to market or something. I'm not sure. I don't know. I was just curious. That has nothing to do with anything. Let's continue. I'm sorry.